Today's topic is social inequality and social exclusion. Before we begin, I would like you to consider the following statements. When our mate comes home, we ask them to sit on the floor while we sit on the dining table when we eat. A man is paid more for the same work a woman does at a firm. A farmer is not considered a man of position while he works hard all day, and a man who goes for a 9 to 5 job is a more honorable man. Two kids, a boy and a girl, where a boy is given more preference, he is given more pocket money, he is given more advantages and freedom over the girl child. Now, in all these statements, one thing is common, and what is that? One group has been given more advantage and preference over the other group. This is what? This is nothing but inequality, where two groups are not considered equal, two people are not considered equal. And the second term that we're going to discuss today is social exclusion, where some people, on the basis of a few factors, are excluded from the society. For example, in Ramayana, Lord Rama was excluded from his family, from his palace. That was what? That was exclusion. And what happens in the society where people are excluded, we are going to discuss that. Now, please understand that in a society, there are people who are very wealthy, there are people who are a little less wealthier, some are poor, some are very poor, and so on and so forth. So, what happens? The wealth becomes concentrated in the hands of few who are rich. And due to that, they have the monopoly over various institutions. Due to that, the poor, the less privileged, the people who face inequalities, they become less privileged. And therefore, the class structure is formed in the society. So, when we say that person is from upper class background, middle class background, that is nothing but his class structure. Now, it is very obvious that the person who has more power, more wealth, he will get better access to the resources of the society, better availability. For example, if he wants to get his child an admission in a very reputed university, it will be easier for him than a person who is a farmer, a cobbler, a barber. For him, it will be more difficult. And for the rich, it will be very easy. Now, inequality, when we talk about it in the terms of resources and when we talk about it in the form in the sense of sociology, we say that there is an absence of equality. Very easy term, but what is this absence of equality? It is when the opportunity, the resources, it is all taken away from you, it is denied. So if you are a barber's son and you are not allowed for higher education, not allowed for admission on that basis, this is when you are facing inequality. Now, the liberal capitalists say that inequality is not that there is an absence of equality, but it should be a thing that is considered among equals only. For example, if I take 10 rich people, 10 wealthy people, and I say that the outcome is different when you apply for different things and there is no equality, only then there is inequality. You should not consider others. So, according to this theory, there is no comparison between two people among who one is really rich and one is very poor. And individuals should not face any discrimination. Only then equality can be achieved. So they are saying that if there is no reservation in exams, there is equality. But is that true? Is that always the case? There are so many people who do need reservations, who do need a push because they have been facing inequality all their lives. So, sociologists say that this is wrong because equality is nothing but distributive justice, that all the resources in the society, it belongs to all the people, and the society will be an equal society when everyone has the equal resources, equal access and distributive justice where everyone gets what they need. Now, according to H.J. Lasky, aspects of society, a true society is when, number one, there is an equality of opportunity. Equality of opportunity means that when I am able to afford or go to a reputed university, my mate's child should also be able to go to that university and should not be denied this opportunity. Accessibility to material resources. It should not be that if I am from a poor background, I should not be allowed to access the material resources that are available in the society. For example, if there is a coaching class who are charging, say, a lot of money, and only because I am poor, I cannot afford it. So this is not equality. There should be some loophole. There should be some privilege for the person who cannot afford it, and there should be absence of titles and privileges. Only then we can be equal. Otherwise, if you think that there is a title already marked up on you, so you already become out of the ordinary, you become out of those people who are standing there, and there is inequality. Equal treatment and rewards for equal performance. For example, a man and women should be treated equally, paid equally for the job they are doing. So, when we talk about the resources in society, we talk about three things in particular, that is, quality of life, participation, and resources in society. For example, each and every one of us should be able to access and gain entry to good hospitals, good health, good treatment, well being, environment, and there should be a participation of everyone. If there is a decision that has to be made, it should not be like the poor or the less privileged are excluded from it. No, everyone should be socially, economically, politically, culturally, and in civic ways participated in the well-being of the society. And when we talk about the resources, all of us should have the access to the services, to education, to skills, training, and material resources that are present in the society. Now, moving ahead to social exclusion. When this inequality that is there in the society, when it takes its extreme form, it comes to being into a social exclusion, where one group is prohibited from the interaction with other group. So, see, if it is in the terms of when one person is sick, for example, if someone has corona, and we are telling that person to stay in quarantine, to stay in isolation, that is justified because otherwise he will contaminate other people. But if it is not because of some medical problem, if it is because of his caste, his class, his surname, his title, then it is an extreme form of inequality. So, some examples can be interdining prohibition. Like I told you in the beginning of the lecture, when we ask our maids to sit on the floor and eat while we eat on the dining table. Prohibition on marriages, which is very common. Intercaste marriages are a big no still in India when we are living in the 21st century. Prohibition on interaction and meeting with others. Do not meet person of a said caste, a said class. Do not meet or interact with them. Do not attend the ceremonies or functions of lower class people. So these are some of the examples. Now, what causes this social exclusion? Why is this thing phenomena in the society? So first of all, please understand that the rules of social exclusion will change with the change in society. What happens in India might not be true for other countries. So, some of the factors can be violation of norms. For example, intercaste marriages. When the child has been told from childhood that you do not have to marry the person of another caste, and if there is a violation of that norm, even if that person marries a person from another caste, the family might disown them, they will exclude them. Occupations such as prostitution, scavenging, we consider those people of no value, no um, dignity, for say, to be honest, and we consider them as inferior. Third can be lifestyle. For example, the hippies, they lead a very different lifestyle, they have a different mentality, different living style, so we prefer to exclude them. A person suffering from AIDS, which is a taboo, leprosy, we consider them to be not good for us, not to be around them, and then therefore we exclude them. Violation of law, if a criminal is there, we would prefer to be away from them and exclude them from the society. Basis of income, sometimes we consider people living in slums to be inferior. Voluntary exclusion, when the person himself or herself excludes them from the society. For example, celebrities, they do not want to be a part of the society because their lifestyle, their thinking, their everything is very different from us. Sadhus, they live a very ascetic life, a very simple life, and they do not want to be a part of the society. And coming to the conclusion, now for a balanced society, what we need is there should be equality, yes, but how come this equality will be there? So, the important point to note here is that we need equality of opportunity where everyone has the opportunity and access to everything equally. And there is distributive justice. Society is based on equality. For example, when we talk about distributive justice of equal pay, if a woman works for 9 hours and a man works for 9 hours, they should be paid equally for the equal work they have done, and only then we can say that society is based on equality of gender. So now moving ahead, and this can be applied on many other things like access to education. If a rich man's child is going to school, a poor man's child should also be going to school. So there are hundreds of examples like this where we can talk about equality. Now coming to the questions. Question number 1. Who among the following theorists sees contemporary society as a death culture, with death being the paradigm of all social exclusion and discrimination? This was given by answer is A.J. Baudrillard, where he said that death of social exclusion and discrimination is when we are at the beginning of modern and contemporary society, where we are free from various taboos and restrictions. Question number 2. Who among the following argues that the withdrawal of legitimacy from an existing system of inequality is a critical precondition for conflict? The answer is B. Althusser. So, according to him, conflict can rise when there is no legitimacy in the system of inequality, where there is no ground for inequality and it just exists for the sake of it. Okay? Because mostly there is no ground for inequality, we just do it for the sake of it, maybe because it has been the way it is from a really long time, and maybe because we have been told by someone to do so. So it just goes without saying that sometimes it goes just for the sake of it. Now the last question is, the book Equality, which examines in detail the inequalities of wealth and income and their connection with the class system, is written by, so this book was written by R.H. Tawney, and in this book he has discussed the inequality of wealth and income and their connection. In Indian aspect, we can think of this as wealth and income, where you can imagine your driver and yourself, and your driver maybe has a very intelligent child and your child is not that intelligent, and even then you manage to get your child into a very good school, whereas your driver struggles to get your his child into a decent school, or even struggles to get books for him. So this is what, there is the connection between wealth and income. Okay, and the connection, how it gives rise to class system, how it gives rise to different problems that are faced by people. I hope you got this lecture. Thank you for watching.